Okay, I'm going to reiterate on the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas game, because that thing's fake. I don't care what anyone says. Or this is one big coincidence and we need to know why those kids who got wounded won't take that $1 million offer, or at least help with the water resource. It brings teachers raises, stops cancer, which saves a lot more lives than trying to take our guns, which you'll never do. It is February 5th, 2019. See, Hurricane Irma hit, and John Englehart, my witness, is the health department director. I sent out an offer with all the permit plans and everything for years, signed and sealed with Executive Order 17235 that waived permit fees, the readings, 300-mile pipeline. And what I did is, in the letter, and it's public record, I offered FEMA just to come to our site and bring trucks and I'd put pneumatic tanks at Marco Island and everything, just bring everyone free 5-gallon jugs of water. You take the jugs down the street and fill up on the 10,000-gallon pneumatic tanks. So that was right at the hurricane, September 27th. It was like days into it. Okay, John responded here. Actually, that's request for inclusion. John responded with all the permits, and Governor Scott said, no, you got to pay the fees, because he's just a Medicaid fraud nightmare with all these leaders. So they just try to wear you down while they're, kidnapping you constantly. We've already been through that. So he responded on October 6th. It's all public record. So what happens is I go in for the funding on the first stick of pipe. You got to fill in an inclusion list. That went in on January 28, 2018, shortly after. Inclusion list. It goes to Douglas building. I wasn't paying attention. I never think of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So after it went in, I got a response. And here's the letter from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas building. Okay, they sent me back, said basically, we'll put you on the list, get a sponsor. All the counties should be sponsors. The water supply, they all should want spring water with lower water bills. March 6th, here's the letter. We got it late January. They didn't want to put the date. They always put the date on permits when you receive it, because that's how sick they all are. Basically, state revolving fund program. There's $1 billion a year for, you get your engineering plans in from Betsy Hewitt. So, and if you look online, my only YouTube video that they won't let you watch, it's monetized, is the one where I'm showing the application. So it was like after the shooting, I'm over here on the beach and I look at the actual application when you get past the inclusion list for the funding, and I saw it said Marjorie Stoneman. I freaked out, and that's when I went down to Broward and made the offer. Hey, show us your wounds. $1 million each. Why sue everyone for a lousy 300 and help me open this water? You'd be heroes. Not one teacher, and I've called the principal. I've intervened in the lawsuits. All those attorneys and all those cops all got copied on e-file in the Broward cases, and the judges admitted it as evidence. So, big coincidence that there was a rehearsal. We got a bunch of drama kids that look like LGBTQ kids. And the fact that this went in 17 days prior to the shooting. And not one leader, not one judge, not one cop, not one student is willing to help open spring water to the tap, alkaline mineral spring water with lower water bills. So it's in the cases. Look at the Bldg's case. They didn't kick me out. They immediately kicked me out of the Pollock case, the guy whose daughter who's trying to run for school board. He's just a clown. See, it's all an act. So I just wanted to reiterate this thing. This is all public record. You could ask for these public records at the DEP building in Tallahassee. Ask for this lady here, Mrs. Betsy Hewitt. I'm sure she's an attorney, of course. You see, it's all attorneys, man. And it's a problem. And these leaders that are attorneys are a problem. I think they ought to make a rule: no lawyer is allowed to be a politician. They're ridiculous, man. They're afraid to fail, and they're terrible. And that's why we're having all these problems with our water supply.